A beautiful morning here at Newell Beach. We finished our work at Snapper Island, finished all the diving there, and now we're off on our next adventure. Thank you. Where are we going this time?
Off the magnetic island. Coral surveys all around there.
Just on our way out of the harbour. We first surveyed these magnetic island reefs 38 years ago in 1988 and have surveyed them 17 times since then for various projects. For this resurvey we started in Nelly Bay where we had 8 sites. We were using accurate GPS positions for each site and trying to run the 4 20-metre long survey tapes as close as possible to the position of the original transects. Corals are often competing for space to grow. Here you can see a pink encrusting soft coral called Briareum growing over and smothering a turbinaria coral. We use line intersect transects to estimate coral cover. Here I am identifying the corals and measuring the intersect length of each coral beneath the line. I record these lengths for each transect on a waterproof paper datasheet. While I'm measuring the corals, Avril is taking a photographic record of each transect. She takes a series of photos along the shoreward side of the tape to record the corals that are present. Here's a graph showing coral cover changes in Nelly Bay since 1988. You can see that there have been big fluctuations caused by cyclones and bleaching over the first 20 years, but since then the trend has been downward due to 5 more major impacts. Coral cover is now lower than it has been for 38 years. There are 4 20-metre-long survey tapes at each site, and I have to measure all the encrusting animals and plants, including the corals, along each transect. Each site takes 30 to 50 minutes, depending on the number of corals that are present. Some patches of reef had been broken up and damaged by the waves from Cyclone Koji. This Category 1 system crossed the coast just south of Townsville in early 2026, but caused minimal damage to the magnetic island reefs. In the year 2000, we set up 4 new sites near the marina to see if there were any changes to the reefs that might be caused by the construction and operation of the marina. When first set up, these sites had a huge 77% coral cover and were dominated by large and beautiful colonies of whorl-shaped Montipora corals. These coral gardens were smashed by Cyclone Tessie soon after the sites were first surveyed, and this event reduced coral cover to only 43%. Coral cover then fluctuated over the next 6 years and reached 50% in 2006, but since then the trend has been steadily downward. During the 2026 survey, coral cover was only 11% on these sites, and algae covered 50% of the reef, as you can see here. On the next day, we surveyed 6 sites in Jeffrey Bay, just to the northeast of the marina. The reefs in this bay were more diverse than in Nellie Bay, with lots of different coral species. Large multi-species schools of resting fish are often associated with these large bommies and are always present in the same place. The fish disperse at night to forage on the reef. God, they're always complex though. Lots of things to write.
At Jeffrey in the slope.
Yes.
Yeah, so many different coral sorts.
It's magical.
Quite often just keep a running total in my head of the commonest thing and then write down the other ones, but
Yeah.
it's so diverse down here, you can't do that.
Yeah.
30. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, go, 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 go. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, let it go.
Oh,
Adriana,
oh, oh,
let it go.
we're right
We
on
need
it.
to touch it.
Coral cover in Jeffrey Bay was 45% in 1989, but had reached a high of 50% in 1998. With 2 bleaching events and Cyclone Tessie, coral cover plummeted to 23% by 2002. Coral cover then slowly increased to 35% in 2022 and was still 31% in 2026 after damage caused by Cyclone Kirrily. This was well above the lows of the early 2000s. We first surveyed 3 sites in Picnic Bay in 2006. Coral cover on the shallow slope was 38% at that time, with lots of Acropora and Turbinaria corals. Since then, coral cover has decreased dramatically due to cyclones and floods, and was less than 15% at the time of the 2026 survey. Good stuff. On the last day of surveys, we did 3 sites in Arthur Bay. The outer reef slope in this bay is dominated by huge old colonies of Pachycereus speciosa coral, tens of metres across and many metres thick. These colonies have survived damage from cyclones, floods and bleaching, and were still healthy and growing at the time of the 2026 survey. Several other coral species also form large colonies in this bay, and corals covered almost 50% of the reef in 2026. Here you can see a thin sheet of Pachycereus coral overgrowing and slowly smothering a large Porites boulder coral. Coral disease usually only spreads through a single coral colony, but in Arthur Bay we came across an unusual situation where disease was spreading through multiple adjoining colonies.
Just changing the tank.
Well, how much there is there? Likely. Yeah.
Oh.
Would it be naughty?
40.
Ooh.
Coral cover in the 6 sites in Arthur and Florence Bays combined was 50% back in 1989 and reached a peak of 65% by 1998. Cyclone Tessie and coral bleaching reduced coral cover to less than 35% in the early 2000s, but it had increased again to 55% by 2006. Since then, a steady decline caused by bleaching, floods and cyclones has reduced cover to 36%, similar to the early 2000s low point. Coral cover on the Florence Bay reefs reached a peak of 63% in 1998, but had dropped rapidly to only 17% by April 2000, following the first major bleaching event and Cyclone Tessie. Coral cover had increased to 44% by late 2006, but was down again to 25% by 2026. Thanks to several bleaching, flood and cyclone impacts. This was still above the previous low points in the early 2000s.
So Tony, we just finished our 10 days of work.
Yes, had to drive up to Daintree and 3 days diving at Snapper Island, and then we had to hop in the car and tow the boat down, get on the ferry, go over to Magnetic Island, and now we've done 4 days of full-on diving around Magnetic Island, doing our coral surveys again that we first did in 1988, and now we're catching the ferry back to the mainland. Still wonderful weather.